Good morning. Hello, everyone. How are you? Today, we will take a new unit, which is about probability. First of all, you have to know the meaning of probability before calculating probabilities. 16.1 unit 16, the first lesson in this unit. Let's take an example to understand the meaning of probability. Now let's take this coin. Take this coin. Here, this is tail, this is head. Now, if you flip this coin, there are two possible outcomes. It could be the tail or could be the head. So here, if you flip a coin or toss a coin, there are two possible outcomes, head or tail. Now, to find the probability of getting ahead, if you get ahead, suppose you get ahead. Now, the probability of getting ahead is half, because there is one head out of two outcomes, which is head or tail. So here, the probability of getting ahead is half or 50%. It's logic. Here, if you flip this coin, you will get a head or a tail. If you get a head, now the probability of getting ahead is 1/2, which is 50%. Now, if you get a tail, so the probability of getting a tail is also a half, 50%. So the probability of getting ahead is 50% and probability of getting a tail is also 50%. Now, this means that if one outcome happens, the others cannot. يعني if you go ahead, can you get a tail with the same time? يعني can you get a head and tail at the same time? No, you can't. You will get a head or you will get a tail. One of them, just one of them. You have to know that. So here, to find out what this probability actually is, you could do an experiment. This experiment, when I flip the coin, this is an experiment. So here, I make an experiment. The possible outcomes for this experiment, head or tail. Of getting a head, 50%. Of getting a tail, also 50%. A head and tail could not happen at the same time. Now, you have to know that from this experiment, now, the probability of getting ahead, يعني instead of writing the probability of getting ahead, خلاص, P, two brackets, head. It means the probability of getting ahead plus the probability of getting a tail. The probability of getting ahead is half. The probability of getting a tail is half. Half plus half is 1. So if you add the probability of getting ahead and tail together, you will get 1. This is a rule for any experiment. Now, note that the probabilities of all outcomes for the same experiment, not for different experiments, just for one experiment, the outcomes for one experiment add up to 1. It's just like this example. I'll give you another example mentally. Suppose you have this dice. If you are rolling this dice, you will get 6 possible outcomes. It could be 1. It could be 2. It could be 3 or 4 or 5 or 6. So the number of possible outcomes of rolling a dice is 6 faces, 6 outcomes. طيب, what is the probability of getting 1? A face that has 1, it's 1 out of 6. Because you have 1 face out of 6 faces. If you get مثلا, what is the probability of getting 2? 2, just 1 face. 1 face from 6 faces, so 1 out of 6, like that. Now let's take example. I will explain some ideas in this example. Listen carefully. The probability that City will win its next football match is 0.65. 0.65. Now, also, the probability will draw is 0.2. Now, work out the probability that City will not win. How we can find this probability? Look now, before doing this example, you have to know this note in general. Listen, if the probability of an outcome P, just any number, يعني P any value, it's any value. You have the probability of some outcome for some experiment, we don't know. It's a value, suppose مثلا 0.6. Then the probability it will not happen is 1 minus P. يعني مثلا لو ال P هون عندنا 0.6 will not happen becomes 0.4, which is 1 minus 0.6. Again, if the probability of an outcome P, just any number, then the probability it will not happen is 1 minus P. I will explain this note by using this example. Now here you have that City will win 0.65. Here we want not to win, the opposite way. Depends on this note, the solution will be 1 minus P, 1 minus 0.65, which is 0.35. Why? Because will win 0.65 and I want not to win, the opposite way. Just 1 minus 0.65. Again, will win 0.65 and I want not to win. يعني not to win يعني 1 minus 1. يعني 1 minus 1. 1 minus 1 equals 0.35. Now, what is the probability that City will win or draw? هلا a word draw هاي draw or the meaning of or, it means add the probabilities. So here or in the probabilities it means add, or يعني add. So here the solution for this one, here the probability of 1 plus probability draw. Given probability 1 هيها probability 1 اللي هي 0.65. Here the probability that City will win its next football match is 0.65. And instead of writing probability of 1, I just wrote probability 1. Now this is 0.65 plus draw. The probability will draw is 0.2. Instead of writing probability will draw, I wrote probability will draw equals 0.2. Addition, عادي addition add يعني or add equals 0.85. Now, what about lose? What is the probability that City will lose? Look, هلا in any football match there are 3 possible outcomes. You have to know that in any football match there are 3 possible outcomes. ايش هم؟ عندنا ايش؟ win or draw or lose. 3 possible outcomes. You have to know the probability of getting these 3 outcomes here. The probabilities for win, draw, and lose add up to 1. Add up to 1. Now, you have to use this information to solve this question. Look, the probability of win, how much? 0.65. This one, 0.2. Here, we don't know. But we know if you add these 3 probabilities, you will get 1. Depends on this rule. The probabilities for win, draw, and lose add up to 1. High 0.65. 0.2 unknown, we don't know. If you add these 3 outcomes, the probability of these 3 outcomes, you will get 1. You will get 1. So here 0.65 plus 0.2, 0.85 plus something we don't know equals 1. How you can find this one? Minus 0.85 minus 0.85, I cancelled. Now 1 minus 0.85 equals 0.15 equals probability that city will lose. Again, the probability of this outcome plus this one plus this one equals 1. High 0.65. High 0.2 plus something we don't know. Add these 2 numbers together. 1 minus these 2 numbers together, you will get this one. Now here in the workbook page 76, solve the question 1 and the question 2. I will discuss these 2 questions together, in general. Look, hi, this is an experiment. Another experiment. Here, work out the probability that fewer than 6. Fewer than 6 يعني 1 minus 0.1. هلا B fewer than 5. Fewer than 5 يعني 1 minus 0.2. هلا fewer than 4. هلا 4 0.25. fewer opposite way اللي هي 1 minus 0.25. In the second question, not be absent. هلا here absent is 0.05. will be absent. will not be absent يعني 1 minus 0.05. not be late. هنا will be late 0.1. not be late يعني 1 minus 0.1. not be present at the start of the lesson يعني 2 things you have to add. Will be late or will be absent. So not be present at the start of the lesson, you have to add these 2 numbers together. Thank you for listening and have a good day. Repeat this video more than 1 time to understand the meaning of probability. Thank you and have a good day.